Investigators in the Sierra foothills are trying to make sense of a rare, deadly mountain lion attack. Deputies in El Dorado County say a mountain lion attacked two brothers Saturday while they were gathering antlers. One brother was killed, the other was injured. Trappers killed the male cougar hours later. The family of the two brothers says they did everything they were supposed to. But this tragedy has generated a lot of conversation about how to stay safe around these big cats. Joining us live now is Josh Rosenau, Director of Policy and Advocacy with the Mountain Lion Foundation. Josh, thanks for your time.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So two questions here. How common are human mountain lion encounters? And then how common are rare, I should say, are those fatal encounters?
So this is the first fatal encounter in California in 20 years. So that gives a sense of how infrequent this is. And across all of North America, over the last 100 years, there have been 27, 28. It's just really, really uncommon. And I think even in the midst of a tragedy like this, and even as scary as it can be, it's just worth bearing in mind that mountain lions are as interested in staying away from us as we really are of staying away from them.
I definitely want to explore that a little bit more, right? It's not like they're just waiting for humans to come along so they can be predators and attack us. But where do these encounters tend to occur? When we enter their habitat, like in this case, or when they enter our habitat?
I think again, it's so rare that it's almost hard to draw broad conclusions a lot of the time. Um, we are definitely increasingly getting into their habitat, and that's less a matter of hiking and biking and other outdoor recreation, but we're pushing into the forests where they live with housing and with roads. And every week in California, a couple of mountain lions get hit by cars.
Yeah.
That's one of the big sources of mortality for mountain lions statewide. Even in a state where hunting was outlawed decades ago, humans are still the largest cause of mountain lion deaths.
I see. I see. Look, in this case, the brothers were in the woods looking for shed antlers, and when they encountered this particular cougar, the family says they stopped, says they raised their hands, yelled, and even threw a backpack. That is textbook, right? That is everything right in an encounter, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's if when people ask me what to do, when I've had friends and coworkers at the Mountain Lion Foundation who hike the Pacific Crest Trail, going out solo hiking, other outdoor activities, and that's the advice that I give people is for the most part, mountain lions are fraidy cats. They don't want to be near people, and they don't want to be near someone who's fighting them. If they're interested in getting close to something, it's pretty much a deer.
So can I ask you
And
then, does
if
this
we don't
mountain
look like a
lion
deer, they
just,
won't get close to us. Yeah.
does this
Sorry.
mountain lion, do you think it just behaved in a very, very unusual way, that this was a anomaly of a mountain lion? What would trigger kind of an unusually aggressive, I'm going to keep coming at you behavior instead of running away?
Yeah. It's really hard to say, and we may never really understand what happened here. It was a young lion, so less experienced, um, less knowledge about the world, less familiar with people, perhaps. Um, it's possible to imagine a lot of scenarios where if people are carrying antlers, or if they're looking, it doesn't sound like they were looking around under bushes, but you definitely have situations where someone is in an unusual body position for a human, and a mountain lion maybe is less likely to recognize what they are, mistakes them for something else. Um, Not clear that that's what happened here. And again, these are something like this that happens every couple decades. It's hard to really draw conclusions about generalities.
All right.
It's every cat is individual. They're basically big house cats. They all behave in their own unique, weird ways.
So then what could people do then, right? In addition to what these guys did to try to be loud, try to be big and scary, and try to scare the mountain lion away, should people, when they go into the woods, for example, carry bear spray? Would that have helped? Or any other weapons might be good to have?
Bear spray definitely can be effective with mountain lions and with bears and with a lot of the other critters that someone might encounter out there on the trail. And I don't do anything differently when I'm out hiking if I'm in an area that has mountain lions than if it has other wildlife that I want to keep at a reasonable distance. So yes, bear spray can be effective. A whistle can work well, an air horn. Oftentimes, when we were talking with ranchers or people who have backyard goats or things, we might suggest that they carry that with them, especially if they're out late at night, which
Hmm.
is more often when you do have a closer encounter with a mountain lion, when they're more active and when people are less likely to notice that they're getting that close. This happened during the day. There, there's no absolute rules here, but for the most part, it's standard outdoor safety. Keep your pets on a leash, keep your kids close at hand, so that if they trip over something, you can pick them up. If they get too close to a skunk or a rattlesnake, that you can help them out. I wouldn't do anything specifically for mountain lions because again, it's so rare. You're
Real quick.
more likely to get into a car crash driving to the trailhead than you are to
Right,
even see
right.
a lion out on the
That's
trail.
important perspective. Look, we only have 20 seconds, but real quickly, is more hunting an answer? Because some folks say, look, limits on hunting them has caused too much population.
California has outlawed hunting since 1971, and these incidents are incredibly rare now. They were incredibly rare before. There's no reason to think that there would be any improvement, and there's some reason to think that hunting can actually increase the rates of conflict.
Josh Rosen, now Director of Policy and Advocacy with the Mountain Lion Foundation. Thanks for coming on to share some valuable information with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.